الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين حبيب إله العالمين المصطفى أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وقرآنه الحميد وقوله الحق: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة عليها ملائكة غلاظ شداد لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم ويفعلون ما يؤمرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. An individual, but not only as an individual, but it looks at an individual as being a person with responsibility. And hence, the ayah says, when you have responsibilities, when you are an individual who has responsibilities, you need to first of all take care of yourself. You need to take care of perfecting your own self. And then you can start administering these responsibilities, which include looking after other individuals as well. And in this ayah, it looks after the individual and the family as well. Because the family is the nucleus of the society. If you can perfect the family, then you have perfected the society. It is said one day a king became a king. His father died, and then it came to him. So they came to him. He said, what are you looking for in the kingdom now under my era? What are you looking for? They told him, we want a good nation. We want a good leadership that will give us a good nation. He said, if that's what you want, it's easy. Provide me with good mothers and I'll provide you with a great nation. Because it starts in the home, in the house. You provide me with good educators, with good nucleus, or good nuclei, and then I'll provide you a good nation as well. A problem occurs when one family, for example, is not withheld properly. One family is not educated properly. You'll have individuals in this family going in tangents, and then these tangents, they cause problems. Not only for themselves, they cause problems for the society. A person, for example, who goes drinking and driving, he's not only endangering his own life, he's endangering other people's life. And hence you see the numbers of deaths annually. If you take a look only at North America, just North America, thousands per year die because of this issue, drinking and driving. Thousands. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking a look at the individual first, because he will be composed one day of a family. He'll become a family. And this family will become the nucleus of the society. And hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts in this ayah of Surah Al-Tahrim, ayah number 6, saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O believers, what do I want from you? Qu anfusakum. Qu anfusakum. Wa ahlikum nara. So safeguard yourselves as individuals, Look after your own self. And then not only yourself, you're not only responsible for yourself, you're also responsible for who? For the family as well. Save them and yourself from the hellfire. Now, how could somebody look after his own self, for example? There are many ways. And in the month of Muharram, we gave many examples of perfecting one's soul, or purifying oneself. Here, we'll take a look at 3 ways. 1, reading books, reading articles. There are many books of akhlaq that can educate the individual. For example, there is a great book. I don't know if it's been translated to English. I have not seen the English translation of this book. It's called Jami' al-Sa'adat, written by Sheikh Mahdi al-Naraqi, may Allah bless his soul. Sheikh Mahdi al-Naraqi has written this book of akhlaq. It talks about how to purify yourself, how to perfect your own akhlaq, how to improve your manners, how to control yourself. Great book. But it has a philosophical flavor into it as well. He goes into some philosophy as well. This Sheikh Mahdi, it is said one day he came to Najaf, and Najaf al-Ashraf, as a visitor. And usually people, when they come to a new city, other people who are in the city, they go to visit this individual. Normally that's what used to happen, or still happens in the Arabic world. So what happened when he came here, this was after he published his book. He was well known at that time. The ulama in Najaf came to visit him. All of them came to visit him except one alim, Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum. He did not come to visit him. So one day, this Sheikh Mahdi al-Naraqi, he goes and he says, I will go visit Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum. He doesn't come, maybe he is busy, no problem. He goes there. The servant greets him. There's a worker usually working. He says, he goes and he tells Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum that, this sheikh has come to see you. He tells him, okay, get him in, let him sit down. He does not give him the warm welcome that one would expect for a sheikh of his caliber coming to visit the city. Then the time goes by, and he tells him, today we're busy, So he goes and he leaves. He comes back the next day, Sheikh Mahdi Naraqi. He says, go visit him again, no problem. Second day, the same thing happens as well. He doesn't get that much of a warm welcome. Now, what we have done, first of all, if it were us, we would say, why should I go see him? He has to come and see me. This is the protocol. But he broke this protocol. Now he goes the first time, he says, what is this alim? He doesn't even want to look at me. And I'm a respected alim, I've written such a great book. But he did not think like this. He said, maybe he's busy. No problem. He goes the next day, and again, the second time, he does not get greeted well. So he is sent back. The third day, he comes back again. The third day, the servant comes and tells Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum that, Sheikh Mahdi Naraqi is coming. He gets up and he greets him from the street. He goes out into the street and he greets him a very warm welcome. And he brings him and makes him sit next to him and tells him, I've read your book, Jami' al-Sa'adat. And I think it's a great book on akhlaq. But I wanted to see if the author holds great akhlaq like the book has. And I found the author has even greater akhlaq than what's written in the book. Now this, when you read about such individuals, such ulama, such scholars, who've written such books, then their books also influence us. Why? Because it's written with sincerity, ikhlas. This author, Sheikh Mahdi al-Naraqi, meant what he wrote in his book. He applied it on himself first, and then he put it in the book. So then when you read in the book, for example, that you need to always think positively of the mu'min. Don't think negatively of a mu'min. You come one day to visit him, he doesn't have time to see you, no problem, he's busy. He's a alim, he's a marja' too. Sayyid Bahr al-Ulum was a marja'. Says, he's busy, no problem. I come back the next day. A person comes in, he greets other mu'mineen, he doesn't greet you. No problem, maybe he didn't see me. A person calls to invite people, but he forgets to invite me, for example, to his house. No problem. Maybe he forgot. Khalas, not a big deal. I'm not going to hold it against him. And then when I hold a majlis at my house, I will also not call him again. Or when we have a wedding, we will not call his family. This is how he treated us, so this is the way we treat him. This is not the akhlaq of mu'mineen. And nor am I going to attend his majlis so that he attends my majlis. This is business. Or I'm going to attend his wedding, so when my wedding comes, they'll attend my wedding. This is business. No, I attend because he's a mu'min. And by attending his majlis, or by attending, for example, his wedding, as long as it's an Islamic wedding, then no problem. I'll attend it because it'll bring pleasure to his heart. Or to her heart, if she's a mu'minah. So, when you read such in the book, then that influences us. That affects us. And I found, recently I was talking to a psychiatrist in Hajj, who said that one of the biggest problems for depression is negative thinking. Negative thinking is one of the biggest problems for depression. People always think negatively of other people. So when you have mu'mineen, don't think negatively of them. He gave an example, the psychiatrist I was talking to in Hajj. He says, for example, you go to see a doctor. You have a doctor's appointment, for example. He tells you to come at 2 o'clock. You go, you sit in the office, 2, 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Then you get up and you start getting angry. So you start shouting at the poor secretary. What is this? He told me 2 o'clock, now it's 4 o'clock. You think I don't have anything better in my life to do, and so on and so forth. And then they might tell you, the secretary might tell you, you know what, actually the doctor is gone. He's gone. So imagine how furious you would become. A volcano erupt. But this is negative thinking. Why did you become angry? It's because you're thinking negatively. But what is positive thinking? For example, I would say, okay, maybe he had an emergency. After all, this doctor is also a human. He can also have a family emergency, a medical emergency, something. So if I tell myself, maybe he had an emergency, and maybe that's why he left without even telling his own secretary, for example. So then I'm happy. My reaction is much easier and calmer, and I don't need to really get upset and so on and so forth. And just reschedule the appointment for another date. So this is all positive, negative thinking. That's what they're talking about in psychiatry these days when they come to depression and all these things. And Quran told us about this 1400 years ago. Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم. Stay away from this bad thinking, negative thinking, because some of it might be haram, sin. If you think negatively of a mu'min. A mu'min said one word. Maybe he did not mean it like this. Maybe he meant it this way. Is there a chance that I may have misunderstood his words? Or am I ma'soom? I can immediately understand everything that's being said, and I can really know what this person is meaning and intending. I can really read his mind. If a person is like this, okay, no problem. But if there is a chance, even 1%, that I may not have understood the true meaning of what he was trying to say or what she was trying to say, then khalas, let me even take this 1%. That 1%, I'll act upon it. So, this Sheikh Mahdi al-Naraqi has written such a great book, Jami' al-Sa'adat. Another book which is a bit easier, less, doesn't have philosophy into it, simpler to read, is written by the Sayyid al-Shaheed Dastaghaib, called Al-Qalb al-Salim. Again, I have not seen an English translation of this. I have seen another one of his book, The Greater Sins, Al-Dhunub al-Kabira. That has been translated into English. Al-Qalb al-Salim, I have not seen it yet, but it may be out there. That one is less philosophical. In fact, it's an easier one. Those of you who speak Arabic or Farsi, you can find it, this book. Both of them, you can find them. So, there are books. That's one way. A person, for example, can improve his akhlaq, his self. He can work on himself and improving it. A second way is reading dua. And I go back to dua makarim al-akhlaq. Dua makarim al-akhlaq. A great dua with great meanings and great treasures. So we read dua makarim al-akhlaq, and their Imam alayhi salam is teaching us that, oh Allah, if you find, for example, there are different paths and different ways, guide me to the best way, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, give me of your own sustenance, so that I don't go and beg from people. And when I beg from people, I start then cursing those who don't give me, who deny me. I say, look at this man. He comes to masjid, he prays and he fasts. Then when I go ask him for $100, he says, go, go, go. What kind of a mu'min is he? And I start doing his ghiba wal iyadu billah and going around all this. Or I start praising, overpraising the one who gives me, overpraising him. This man is a great man. You know. So whatever he does, khalas. He becomes infallible. So I support him in everything he does or everything she does. That also is mentioned in Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq. Ya Allah, make me always live a balanced life. Give good judgments. So this way, when I read Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq, and it has a good translation. It's been translated with a good professor. He translated Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq. So read it, and it's very nice. Read the translation of it. One day we were in Medina, and I read to a couple of my friends who were with us in the caravan, and they were not Arabic speaking. I told them, we'll read Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq, and then briefly, I won't summarize every sentence, but briefly, we'll go over some of the major points. When we went over it, one of the mu'mineen said, what a great dua this is. You know, I've been reading it, but I never really read, the meaning of it. I never understood what I was reading. I didn't realize it has such beautiful meaning into it. So sometimes it's worth to spend a little bit of time just to go over the meaning of what Imam alayhi salam is teaching us in Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq. And to try to read it regularly. Try to make it at least a weekly habit, if not a daily habit, or at least a monthly habit, and so on and so forth. So reading dua is a second way. Now some people, unfortunately, they don't have time to read. No time to read. Then what do? Then the majalis of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. The majalis of Ahlul Bayt. Coming and attending these majalis. By attending these majalis, then you can hear stories of the ulama, like Sheikh Mahdi al-Naraqi and his great akhlaq. You can hear stories of maw'idha, tafsir. Sometimes one word changes a human being. It turns his life upside down. In Karbala, there was a scholar by the name of Sayyid Muhammad Kadhim al-Qazwini. May Allah bless his soul. He's written several books in Arabic about Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Now, in Karbala, in the month of Muharram, he would have more than one majlis. He would recite majlis and then he finishes and then goes to another majlis, for example. And then finishes and then goes to a third majlis. One day, the man who was walking with him from one majlis to another majlis, he walks with him. He saw that Sayyid is very tired. After he gave one majlis or two majlis, imagine on the 7th night or the 8th night, every night you're giving 3 majalis, 4 majalis, then you become tired, and he was not a young man. So he became tired a little bit. He said, Sayyid, why don't you tell the majlis, the next majlis, tell them you're a little bit tired today. So it's okay, one night you go rest at home, and then tomorrow, inshallah, you continue with the majlis. He said, let me tell you something. He said, a few days ago, a man came to me, and he said, my neighbor seized my house. Back in Iraq, especially at the time when the tyrant was there, the oppressive regime, people who were linked to the oppressive regime, they had special powers. They can come to your house and kick you out of your house, and they take your house, and you cannot say a single word. They have all the powers. They're linked to that regime. They had the connections. So apparently this individual was of such sort. So he came to this poor neighbor's house and he kicked him out of his house. He said, Khalas, the house is my house. Ghasb. He said, okay, what shall I do? He said, the guy, my neighbor who took my house, he regularly attends your majalis. He attends your majalis. He said, Sayyid, tonight in the majlis, can you please speak about this issue? Say how bad it is to take somebody else's house. You cannot pray in the house. It's haram. He said, no problem. He said, so I went on the minbar that night and I spoke of this issue. I spoke about it. I told them it's haram to take somebody else's house. You cannot pray in this house. How can you raise your children in this house? So I gave maw'adha. He said, the next day this man came to me and he said, Sayyid, thank you. May Allah bless you. This man, he was sitting in your majlis. The minute he went back home, he came to me. He said, you know what? I changed my mind. Take your house back. Khalas. Keep it. He said, if our words have so much power and influence, then even though we feel a little bit tired, we must deliver. We have to go. We have to do this work for the sake of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And hence, I was just talking with one of the mu'mineen. Sometimes we feel tired to come to mosque. You know, especially for those of us who work from 7 in the morning, let's say, or you wake up at salat time, for example, or before salat time. And by 7 you're at your job and you work until 5 in the afternoon or 6 in the afternoon. It's tiring a little bit. You come back home. By the time you eat that few meal or a little bit of a meal, if you have time to eat any meal, khalas, a person is drained. However, sometimes we have to push ourselves. Subhanallah, you find that one day I push myself and come, that majlis, that something, you know, a hadith is said, an ayah is recited, that really opens my heart, opens my mind, opens my eyes, cleanses my heart and my soul. These majalis, they cleanse one's soul. And hence, these are the 3 ways through which a person can start perfecting his own life and safeguarding himself from the hellfire, wal-'iyadhu billah. Through 1, reading some books, 2, reading du'as, and 3, attending the majalis. And of course, I haven't talked about reading Quran and all that. There's many, many ways. These are just because of the time here. So now a person has worked on himself. Now comes the family. You're not only responsible for yourself. You wake up and you pray your salat, and then you let your children just run around and do whatever they want. The main thing is that they have clothes and they have the latest cars and they are studying in the best universities. That's it, khalas. I've done my job. Alhamdulillah, there is lots of food in the fridge and everything they want, they have. There is one thing that sometimes the children need more than that, and that is the father or the mother. They need them. They need to sit with them. A while back, a few years ago, I read a survey that was done among some teenage girls. They asked teenage girls, what do you want the most? They said, we want to spend time with our fathers. We wish our dads would spend more time with us. They would sit down with us a little bit more. They're just busy in their lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرْ حَتَّى زُرْتُمُ الْمَقَابِرِ. You're so busy about your own lives and your own affairs until all of a sudden you find that, khalas, I'm in the qabr now. It's already 50 years have passed by, 60 years have passed by. Where did all this time go? What happened here? My child was born yesterday, now mashallah he's in university. My daughter was born yesterday, now she's getting married. How did this happen? Time flies. Khalas. So we gotta rush. We gotta rush to teaching them and educating them from the day they are born. I read a study once where they followed children, and when they grew up, they still followed them. And they saw which ones of them, for example, became criminals and so on and so forth. They saw that, you know, at the age of 9 months, that's when a child starts developing this sense of hate towards the society. And hence a person might become a criminal. And why? Because of neglections. This child, 9 months, if those of you who have children, you know, the child, even when, at a young age, he can recognize his mom. He can recognize his father. If you give him to somebody else, he starts crying. It's a baby. The minute the mother holds him, khalas, he's quiet, or she becomes quiet. So that he can identify, he can feel the comfort. If this child, if this baby, who's only 2 months old, 3 months old, is neglected and is in constant pain, now he cannot speak, but the pain is inside. This pain one day will explode. And unfortunately, that's what happens when an individual, for example, one day you find him a criminal, becoming a criminal. It's from this childhood. They found at the age of 9 months. 9 months that sense develops into the child. So from day one, the first day the child is born, is when teaching has to start. Now this teaching cannot start if the environment in the house is electrified. The father is yelling at the mother is shouting at the father, and always they're fighting, and always they're in, for example, arguments. That cannot happen. A father is nice outside, he comes home, he becomes, mashallah, shimmer at home. Ya akhi, yani, I see sometimes people say, I'm the man of the house, so I'm not going to touch the dishes. Dishes? What? Clean? This is not my job. No, I'm the man of the house. I'm the man of the house. What should I talk about to my wife about? Khalas, whatever I say goes. No, ajib, ya akhi. Welcome to Canada. If you stay, maybe back there, if here, my friend, they'll kick you out and they'll take the whole thing. So, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. And you find sometimes even the wife, she's busy with her own life. The father, for example, is busy with his BlackBerry. The mother is busy with her iPhone. And then, khalas, no chatting and no communication. No chatting, literally. So, that environment then becomes tense for the house. And then the children, they cannot then obtain, they cannot absorb anything in such an environment. They cannot absorb anything in such an environment. So the environment of the house has to be a serene environment. And this has to be worked on from the father and the mother, both. And then you start teaching this serenity and tranquility to the children from their young age. By one, reading Quran to those people, to the child. By reading dua to them. Some of the ulama used to wake up every morning for Salat al-Subuh and call their children to teach them dua al-Sabah. And hence the children started memorizing dua al-Sabah. They started, for example, calling their children and teaching them Quran. Uniting together at dinner, getting everyone together for dinner. About 10 or 11 years ago, in the Vancouver Sun, the major newspaper in Vancouver, daily newspaper, I read an article once, because I used to teach in the weekend school, and this came across, so I discussed it among the students. This article is written by a school counselor, about the attitudes of children or youth, in this day and age. And this was before the age of, the tablets and the iPhones and the cell phones. Even back then were not so popular, even cell phones. And we're not talking too long ago, we're only talking about 11 years ago. Back in the year 2000, 99, those of you may remember, not many people even had cell phones back then. So, she was saying one of the major problems we're facing in the society today is that children, they're not sitting with their families at the dinner table anymore. You find the father is so busy, he's working, the mother is busy working, the child comes home, he grabs the pizza, or whatever it is that, they cooked for him, and he sits down watching television and eating. He says, when do the parents then teach the child? He says, this dinner, she was referring to a psychologist. A psychologist was saying this. The psychologist said this dinner table conversation is very important for the family. It's very healthy. At the dinner table, you ask the child, how was your day in school? What was it like? What did you learn? You see and monitor and observe the child's behavior at the dinner table, because that reflects his behavior outside as well. And hence you can teach. Spending time with the children. Our Prophet ﷺ says, "Man kana lahu sabiyyun falyatasabba lah." Whomever has a boy or a child, let him behave like a child with him or with her. Play with him. No problem. Abu Huraira narrates, he says, we were coming with Rasulullah ﷺ to his house. We were walking. And then he came across Al-Husayn alayhi salam. He said, the Rasulullah left us. He was walking with us, the companions. He left us and he started running after Hussein, and Hussein would run away from him. And he would chase Hussein alayhi salam. And Hussein would run away. He says, Rasulullah is running after Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And then he grabbed him. He grabbed him and he hugged him. And he said, Hussein is my love. Ahabba Allah man ahabba Husayna. I love this young child. May Allah love the one who loves this young child. So, spending time with them, playing with them, trying to educate them is very important, brothers and sisters. Trying to teach them the love of Ahlul Bayt. For example, if you buy them toys, and they will always like toys, children, even mashallah men, even and women, everybody still likes toys. It's just that the price of the toys changes, and gets more expensive as they grow older. Initially it is a $1 car that you buy, and then later on they want a $50,000 car. So that's what it is. Otherwise the toys don't change. So if you buy them something, tell them, you know what, in the wiladat of this imam or this ma'soom, I will give it to you, inshallah. So then they start looking forward for the wiladah of this ma'soom. And alhamdulillah, Allah blessed us with 14 ma'soomeen, alhamdulillah. And then there's Eid al-Ghadir, there's Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Mubahala, Eid al-Adha, and so on and so forth. Several a'yad. So this way you keep them looking forward for the Eid, because that's when they're going to be getting their prize. That's good. So this way we teach them the love of Ahlul Bayt, bringing them to these majalis, not by force, but we tell them, you know what, you come here, you know what, this is where Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam will be happy with. So here Allah is pleased with. And then they come. That's one thing. This is the role of the parents. And then there is a role of the children as well, the youth, especially the youth. The youth, brothers and sisters, make sure you also listen to your parents. They are saying what they're saying to you because they love you, not because they want to restrict you, not because they want to take your freedom away. This country, has laws. They have, for example, driving laws. These driving laws were made not so that they restrict your freedom. In fact, they were made so that you can have freedom. If there are no laws, you drive any way you want. Then imagine all the accidents and everything, the chaos that will occur. You can drive this way, you can drive wrong way, like in some countries you see, mashallah. Although they have posted signs, in some countries I hear they even steal them, these posted signs, when they have. Because they can, melt them and then recycle them, use them, sell them for something else. So, imagine what chaos would happen. These laws were not made to restrict the individual, but in fact to liberate the individual. Similarly, when the father tells his son or his daughter, son, daughter, it is time of salat, go pray. You're watching this hockey game or you're playing this video game, maybe it's time for salat a little bit. Go pray and then come back. The son or the daughter should not get upset at the father. Say, no. What, you've become like, Munkar and Nakir, Aqib and Atid? What is this? Policeman now in the house? Allah will take care of my salat and siyam. It's between me and Allah. Yes, it's between you and Allah. But think about your akhirah. Think about this hellfire that Allah is talking to us. وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ Allah says. The fuel of this fire is people and stones. Now what does stones mean? Inshallah, that's for a different day. We're talking about the first part of the ayah today. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. So, when the child or when the father and the mother is telling the daughter, for example, do not wear these tight clothes. Just hijab is not just about, for example, covering your hair. It is also about wearing clothes that are also loose. Tight clothes, and for example, or your neck is showing, or having makeup on. This is not part of hijab. You have to wear hijab properly. A girl should not get upset at the mother, for example, for saying something like this. She should realize that this is for her own advantage. Now it is the father and the mother whose job is to teach them and educate them. When this ayah was revealed, it is said one of the companions of Rasulullah was crying. Rasulullah told him, what's the matter? Why are you crying? He said, I can barely take care of myself. Now I'm also responsible for my own family. How am I going to do this? He said, at least you tell them what is halal and what is haram. And then khalas, it's up to them. You teach them, you educate them, look after them. By educating them, by reading these akhlaq and these manners to them, brothers and sisters, by spending time with them, by making them love the Quran, the dua, Ahlul Bayt, and then by us also remembering our parents, by us listening to our parents. Because what goes around, brothers and sisters, what comes around. It is said one day a son got in an argument with his father. He got in an argument with the father, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, and then he kicked the father outside the house. He said, get out of the house. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. The father told the son, you know what, it's cold outside. At least give me a blanket. He said, okay. He calls his son. He says, son, go get him a blanket. The son comes with half a blanket, not a full one. He cut it in half. So the father said, where is the other half? He said, I'm saving it for you, Dad. So when you become old, the other half will be for you as well. Because if this is what you're doing to your father, it means this is what I should do to you as well when you become old. And subhanAllah, this is whatever we teach them, they get, they absorb. And then they'll do it to us one day. If we teach them that white lie is okay, somebody calls me at house, and I say, oh, tell them I'm not here. And you're teaching them that lying is okay. So one day when you call them on their cell phone, they say, Dad, oh, we're not in some place that, we should not be. We're here with my friends, the brothers here sitting down. Because that's what they learn when they're a child. So we have to teach this akhlaq by watching first ourselves. That's why the ayah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qu anfusakum. You safeguard yourselves. And then you became like Sheikh Mahdi al-Naraqi. When he writes a book, his akhlaq is even greater than what's in the book. He means what he has. And hence when I teach my children about praying salat on time, I should be a role model for them. I should be praying my salat on time. When I teach my children to pray salatul layl, I should be a role model. I should be praying salatul layl in front of them. When I teach my children about, for example, not spending so much time on the computer, playing video games and whatever, I should not be spending so much time on my computer doing email and chatting and, for example, doing my business also. I should spend time with them as well. And hence, this way we can start educating these children so that they can remember. Fatima al-Sughra, the daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, she narrates from her aunt Zainab salamullahi alayha. Zainab says, I used to see my mother Fatima praying Salatul Layl on Thursday night until Fajr. She would wake up the whole night until Fajr praying. And this hadith is also narrated from Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam as well. So which means that not only Zainab alayhi salam was awake, even Imam Al-Hasan alayhi salam was awake. And not only were they awake, they observed what their mother was doing. And they were little children, huh? Salam was about 5 years old when her mother died. Imam al-Hasan was about 7 years old when his mother died. 7 or 8, give or take. She says, and he says, we notice that our mother prays for our neighbors and she does not pray for us. So we asked her mother, I heard you praying for the neighbors, but you did not pray for us. She said, son and daughter, al-jar thumma ad-dar. You pray first for the neighbor and then you take care of yourself. So for us, no problem. We pray for our neighbors and pray for yourself. No problem. Pray for yourself. But also think of the others. This is the teaching she taught her daughter Zainab. And hence Zainab alayhi salam, even on the eve of the 11th of Muharram, the eve of the 11th, after the martyrdom, when they had no tents, even that night, she prayed Salatul Layl. She did not leave Salatul Layl. Even throughout their journey, she was praying Salatul Layl. Throughout the journey. And you read in the history how difficult the journey was. So all that started back 50 years ago when their mother was teaching them. The father was teaching them. So this is something we have to do, brothers and sisters. And this is how we can safeguard ourselves and the children. And you find this is how Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam did. Imam Hussein alayhi salam took care of his children. Constantly he would look after them, teach them, educate them. And hence they had attachment to him. There was a big attachment from the children to him. But the strongest attachment was of his daughter Ruqayyah, who was about 3-year-old. She was strongly attached to her father. It is interesting. Out of the children of Imam Hussein, most of them, if not all of them, came to know that their father had been killed within a little while. Some came to know immediately, those who were older, and those who were younger a little while later. But the only one who died when she came to recognize that her father has been killed was Ruqayyah. is the only one who died. It may reflect, Allah knows, but it may reflect that she may have had the strongest attachment to her father, the strongest love to her father out of everyone else. And this through the teaching of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, how he taught them. It said she used to bring the musalla of her father to her father. She would stretch it for him, prepare it for him. So he was teaching her from that young age. She was only 3 years old. He's teaching her what is salat, how to pray. Even though the children might look as if they're playing around us at the time of salat, that's fine. Let them play around us. They're absorbing it, their ears are with us. You'll find them memorizing the surahs that you read in the salat just by playing around us, around you. They play. So he was teaching them. And then this family went through a lot of difficulty. On the day of Ashura, Zainab alayha salam looked for Sukayna, who was a little older than Ruqayyah. She looked for her, she couldn't find her. So she approached her into the battlefield. She looked into the battlefield. She saw her hugging the body of her father, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, a body without a head. She told her daughter, my little girl, what brings you here? She said, Aunt, when the enemy started burning our tents, I didn't know where to go. I thought, let me go seek refuge in my father, but I found my father here, a body with no head. And on the 11th day of Muharram, she came and she hugged the body of her father. Shimr came and he dragged her away from her father and started beating her. And the family continued their journey until they came into Sham. When they came to Sham, one night, Ruqayyah, the 3-year-old daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, wakes up in the middle of the night. She says, Amma Zainab, ayna walidi al-Hussein? Amma Zainab, where is my father, Imam Hussein? I just saw him in my dream. Now she was too young to recognize that her father had been killed. She did not know yet. Zainab alayha salam in the middle of the night looked at her and she said, Bunayya, innahu fi safarin tawil. He is gone on a long journey. Your father is on a long journey. She said, but aunt, I just saw him in my dream. I want to see him. Tell him to come back from this journey. She said, little girl, he's in a journey where he cannot come back. And that's when all the women and the children of Imam Hussein, they woke up and they started weeping for this little girl, Ruqayyah. Then the news reached the palace of Yazid. He said, what is the matter? They told him a little girl of Imam Hussein alayhi salam woke up and she's asking for her father. He says, well then take the head of her father to her. They brought the head of the father covered. It was covered on a plate. يقول السيد بن طاووس فلما نظرت إلى الطبق ظنت أو إلى الطشت ظنت أن في الطشت طعاما. When she looked at that plate, she thought there is food in the plate. She said, عم زينب لقد عزفت نفسي عن الطعام. Oh, Aunt Zainab, I don't want food. I want my father, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. She said, my little girl, remove the cover from the plate. Then Ruqayyah, brothers, those of you who have, and sisters, those of you who have a daughter, those of you who have daughters, now try to think of this. Remember when the time your daughter was 3-year-old, may Allah keep your daughters for you, protect them inshallah. But remember how they used to run after you, they used to love you, they used to rush to see you. Now imagine if this little girl, the 3-year-old, is coming to see her father, but instead she removes that cover, and what does she see? She sees the head of her father into the plate covered in blood. She threw herself on the head of her father. She cried, Abba ya Hussein, أبتاي من الذي حز وريدك. Oh, my father, who beheaded you? أبتا من الذي خضب شيبتك. Oh, my father, who stained your beard in blood? أبتا من للنساء والأيتام. Who will take care of protecting the women and the orphans, oh father? And then she went into a silence. Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam turned to Zainab. قال عم زينب ارفعيها فلقد فارقت الحياة. Oh, my aunt Zainab, remove her from the head of my father Abi Abdullah, for she has joined my father Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Zainab alayha salam, she rushed to this little girl. She shook her, she saw her, she saw that she has no life anymore. Her soul has departed her body. Right there on the head of her father Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, while she was hugging the head of her father, crying. Zainab alayha salam, she carried that little girl. She looked at the head of Abi Abdullah. She said, Akhi ya Hussein, خويا أنا تحيرت والله بيتامك. Oh, brother Ya Hussein, look at your sister Zainab all alone with the orphans, facing such great difficulties, with no one to help me, with no one to support me. And then this little girl was buried there in Sham, and today millions of Zuwar go to her grave, millions. And Zainab alayha salam headed back to Karbala. It is said when she arrived in Karbala, she threw herself on the grave of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. She said, Akhi ya Hussein, oh brother ya Aba Abdullah, here is your sister Zainab. Oh brother, but I have an apology to make. What is your apology, ya Zainab? She said, Ya Aba Abdullah, you told me to take care of your children, to take care of everyone, but your daughter Ruqayya was left in Sham. النساء كمن يكون إذا سرت. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Brothers and sisters, raise your hand. This little girl, although she was only 3 years old, but believe me, she's a grand door of hajat. If you have haja, she will fulfill it for you. This little girl, millions of zuwar go to her grave every year. Millions go to her shrine every year, and they get their hajat. So remember this little girl, and your hajat will be accepted, insha'Allah. And here, because she loved Imam Hussein so much, she had great attachment to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. We ask Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, Ya Abu Abdullah, by this love of this girl of yours, Ruqayya, accept our hajat and fulfill our hajat. Ya Allah. Raise your hand. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mudtarra idha da'a ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه 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 ويكشف السوء. اللهم إنا نسألك وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم 10 times يا الله 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 يا الله. إلهي بفاطمة وأبيها وبعلها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها اكشف عنا السوء يا الله. اللهم اغفر ذنوبنا يا الله، كفر عنا سيئاتنا يا الله، وتوفنا مع الأبرار يا الله. اللهم اقضي حوائج المحتاجين يا الله، شافي وعافي جميع المرضى يا الله. اللهم اجعلنا من شيعة الحسين يا الله، وارزقنا زيارة رقية وزيارة الحسين عاجلا يا الله، وارزقنا شفاعة رقية وشفاعة الحسين آجلا يا الله. اللهم اغفر لي ولوالدي وارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا، اجزهما بالإحسان إحسانا وبالسيئات غفرانا. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. اللهم ارزقنا ذرية مؤمنة كرقية الحسين يا الله. اللهم وآمن زوار الحسين في كربلاء يا الله. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج واجعلنا من شيعته وأنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديه. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أرنا الطلعة الرشيدة والغرة الحميدة واكحل أنظارنا بنظرة منا إليه. اللهم نقسم عليك بالزهراء فاطمة إلا ما رزقتنا شفاعة الزهراء يا الله يا الله يا الله، لقضاء الحوائج ولشفاء المرضى ولكشف هذه الغمة عن هذه الأمة ولتعجيل فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان، وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات لا سيما أرواح أموات الجالسين والحاضرين. رحم الله من يقرأ السورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات.